Hey everybody, Josh from Populi here, and 1 sec while I mark you present for this in-depth look at attendance assignments. And it's worth noting that this is really a look at how to incorporate student attendance into final course grades. It is our long-held conviction that instructors want students to show up for class and for student attendance to be reflected in their grades. This video is primarily for faculty and teaching assistant users. We also have a shorter version on this topic, and that's linked in the description. This assignment type is different than all other assignments in Populi, and that's because you only ever need to create a single instance of an attendance assignment on a course. Once you do that, all attendance events funnel into that single assignment grade. To be clear, that means that you don't need separate attendance assignments for each class meeting. You just need one for a whole course. Here's the best way to set up an attendance assignment where course attendance is a weighted part of the final grade. To create an attendance assignment, we'll be on a course, we'll go to the Assignments tab, and then we'll click on the Add Assignments dropdown and then select Add an Assignment. The first field we get here is the name field. I'm going to type in attendance. The description here is optional. The important item here is the assignment type. You have to pick attendance for this to work. There's just no way around it. This type automatically links course attendance records to Populi's grading mechanism, which we'll get to. Next, you'll enter points. You can put anything you want in here. I like 100 points for these assignments because the grade translates easily into a percent, but you do what you feel. Okay, the rest of the fields here are either optional or set to their defaults. At the end of the video, we'll go back through and describe each of those. So at this point, we can finish creating this assignment just by clicking Save. But actually, you know what? Right now, we're going to look at this assignment group field. There are different ways you can handle grade weights in Populi, but the easiest way of managing the weight of the attendance assignment is to use an assignment group. You'll usually create that attendance assignment group before you create the attendance assignment. In this case, we're going to step sideways and do that. So on the course, in the Course Assignments tab, click Add an Assignment Group. I lack what's known as the creative impulse, so I'm going to call this assignment group Attendance. And I'm going to give it a weight of 5%. As I create this example, I'm going to leave the extra credit and drop lowest boxes unchecked, but I'll still explain what they mean. Extra credit means that any assignments in this group will be extra. That means two things. One, any points a student earns will be added on top of the assignment points that they earn from regular assignments. And two, if they do poorly on one of these, that won't count against their grade calculation. It's all gravy. Because in our situation, we're going to end up with only a single assignment in this group, it doesn't make sense to use drop lowest. Drop lowest doesn't do anything on assignment groups with only one assignment. But in other circumstances, you'd enter the number of lowest graded assignments in this group to leave out of the grading calculation. Once we save, we see that we have the attendance assignment group here, and it's worth 5% of your students' final course grades. A deeper discussion of grade weighting can be found in the description below. Hopping back over to that assignment, we can now choose that assignment group that we just created from the dropdown. Once we save that, you can see that this assignment is now worth 5% of the course. It's being controlled by that assignment group there for attendance. And then if we hop over to the grade book, we can see that assignment over there as well. Provided that it's published, students will also be able to see this assignment when they look at the Assignments tab. Here's how the assignment works. You take attendance. There are multiple ways to do that. You can use the interface in the Populi Course Attendance tab. You'll pick a meeting time, mark each student's status, and save. The mobile app comes in handy in a couple ways. On the app, you can go to your course, tap attendance, and then set each student's status. Your records are saved on the fly. You can also use the mobile app to set up an automatic attendance beacon. That's covered in a video and a knowledge base article in the description. And then there's also the attendance kiosk feature, and we have an article and a video on that as well. However you take attendance, The attendance assignment will be tallying up the records to create an assignment grade. The grade's calculated as follows: the number of points in the assignment divided by the number of meeting times for which attendance records have been entered. If you haven't taken attendance for a particular meeting time, that won't be figured into the tally. Let's look at what happens when you take attendance to see how different attendance statuses are calculated into the grade. On the attendance tab, we'll click into an attendance event here. This student was present. We're going to mark this student absent. We'll mark this student tardy and this one excused, and then we'll save attendance. Flipping over to the attendance assignment page, we'll see the student marked present gets full credit, 100%. The student marked absent gets 0%, and then the student marked tardy gets 75%. We'll explain why in a minute. And then the student marked excused doesn't receive a grade at all. Obviously, these marks carry right over to the gradebook. As you record attendance for other events, those events will be included in the grade calculation. Okay, now let's step back and explain that score for the tardy student here. This is based on the number of tardies equal to an absent setting. That's in academics, settings, grades, and attendance. And only academic admins can see and update that field. In this case, 4 tardies equals 1 absence. 100% of an assignment is divided by 4 tardies. Each tardy deducts 25%. So the student marked tardy here gets 75%, but if that student gets marked tardy again and again and again, those 4 tardies will add up to 1 absence. Excused absences are dependent on the excused absences setting in the same place. The options for that setting are do not count, the grade remains blank, it's basically ungraded at this point for that student. Excused counts neither for nor against. Count as present, the student would get 100%, just as he would for being marked present. Count as absent, the student gets 0%, just as he would for being marked absent. Disable excused. This eliminates excused as an option. It just doesn't show up. Okay, lastly, let's swing back through those other fields on the assignment creation dialog. Mandatory pass means that the student has to pass this assignment in order to pass the course at all. If you want students to fail automatically, if they don't show up, this one will do the trick. Quick note here, many institutions have a global setting for attendance that automatically fails students that fall below a threshold anyway. So it might be good to check your administration's policy on that. Pass-fail grades the assignment according to your school's pass-fail grade scale rather than the usual letter grade scale. Extra credit's just what it sounds like. Any points earned in the assignment get added to the student's assignment points. If the student does poorly, it doesn't count against them. You'll notice that if you check the box for pass-fail, you can't set an assignment to extra credit, and vice versa. You will remember the assignment group setting from earlier. That's what we're using to control the grade weight for this assignment. The publish toggle controls whether or not an assignment is published or a draft. If an assignment is left as a draft, it'll just languish without affecting anything. Students won't be able to see the assignment until you change the setting. Once you set it to published, it functions normally in the course according to the other settings here. Normally, this lets a student interact with an assignment. In this case, there's not much interacting to do, so this basically determines when a student is able to leave comments on the attendance assignment. Always available means that if a student can access the course, they can access this assignment. Available from allows you to set the start and end time of availability. Available after allows you to set only the start of the availability. The availability window will close when student access to the course ends. Available until allows you to set only the end of availability. The availability window opens when student access to the course begins. The tick box for visible to students before available means that students will be able to see this assignment on the calendar and on the assignments tab before it's available. You would uncheck this if you had a surprise assignment of some kind, like a pop quiz. The drop-down for release grades lets you control when students will see the grades for this assignment. If you set the drop-down to yes, As soon as you enter a grade for each student, that student will be able to see the grade. If this is set to no, students will not see entered grades for the assignment at all. If you choose on date, students will see entered grades on the date and time that you set here. Jeepers, that's how you set up an attendance assignment, which is the easiest way to figure student attendance into course grades. A great way to keep up with updates and improvements to Populi as a software is via our weekly release notes. Those go out on Friday, and you can follow them in our knowledge base. To do that, when you're logged into Populi, click on Help in the upper right-hand corner, click Search the Knowledge Base, then click Release Notes and Announcements. Click on the heading for release notes and then click follow. You'll receive an email when we post release notes there, and that'll keep you on the bleeding edge of Populi features and improvements. I've been Josh for Populi. You've been great. Thanks for watching.